How do you think social networking sites like MySpace, Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube have affected the music business as a whole?
I don't think there's much dispute about the fact that the business paradigm as people have come to know it in the past has more or less been turned upside down on its head in the last 10 years. The nutshell version of it, as far as I see it, and as it applies to my business, is that it's allowed the artists and independent business owners like myself to take more control over the process from beginning creativity, writing music, producing music, releasing music, and promoting the music.
It certainly filled the void when the marketing machine of the big record companies were cut back and faltered, whatever you want to call it. This gave everybody a DIY tool to go out there and pick up the slack and even take it to the next level, you know? I mean, record companies and all marketing departments for that matter, you know, target their specific age group or customer target, and you know, but somebody who follows you on Facebook or MySpace, you know, they can get 3 million listens of a few songs that they list on their page, or they can have, you know, hit 5,000 people all at once with their gig that night, you know. So you're helping fill rooms, you're feeding the machine, the marketing machine, and you're doing it yourself on the cheap. So it's a great resource as far as that goes.
Mm-hmm. So those kind of sites, MySpace, you know, Facebook, Twitter, and so on and so forth, have made fame a different kind of thing. As with reality shows, you know, smaller artists are able to do, you know, greater things. If you look at the Justin Bieber story, even though he was affiliated with Usher and whatnot, his big jump in fame was the whole YouTube thing with his videos and people getting him noticed. And a lot of videos and a lot of people are having a lot of success, sometimes good, sometimes not so good, because of being able to generate a lot of hits. And, you know, everybody sees it and they're like, oh, this is exciting, let's go and see this. There's a band, OK Go, I believe they're called. Really, you know, ingenious videos with the treadmills and all that stuff. But 20 years ago, when it was the MTV generation, I don't know if that would have happened, because they weren't the MTV, you know, video band with a bunch of, you know, really handsome guys doing really handsome things. So, to close the statement, I would say that those sites have made it possible for any artist to have an even better chance to create some kind of, you know, fame in their own right.
MySpace doesn't seem to be remotely involved anymore, even though I'm sure they would argue it. Everyone kind of looks at it like it's just an old remnant, which is really bizarre. Being someone who was around before it, it just kind of faded out. Nobody uses MySpace anymore. Or they all have a MySpace, but they don't use it. Facebook, with the integration that it's doing with every other site, seems to still be in the lead, because you can use your Reverb Nation page with it. I believe you can even link your SoundCloud to it, and all the little apps they've developed. So Facebook truly is leading the charge, and Twitter is just important because everybody's a voyeur at heart, and they all want to know what's happening every second of the day, because none of it really matters.
Well, I think especially YouTube, and I would say Facebook, I think they've changed everything. I know for myself at this time, I have over 50 million views on YouTube, and I think that it now is available to any musician, if they want to get exposure, to literally film what they do and post it on YouTube, and the world can see it. And so I think that it's changed the game completely for the better.
There's positives and negatives. You know, the positives is now the little people can be heard, you know, and you can get your stuff out there. And it to a certain degree, on one side of it, I love it, because, you know, a lot of people say, you know, it kills that old school, you know, man, you gotta hear me, man, you gotta hear my stuff. I'm hot. It's this, that, whatever it is. And it's like, now it's like, okay, post it on a Facebook page, or post it on YouTube, or, you know, create a YouTube page, or create a MySpace, and it's like we can judge for ourselves right away. So if it ain't hot, it ain't hot. It's like that. I love it, because it just cuts so much time and so much fat, you know, out of the way.
You can upload songs now to Facebook and MySpace and YouTube. That's obvious, and you have to do that. because there's too many artists out there now. The digital age is like brought on thousands of bands. It seems like everybody and their brother has a band. But the great thing is now there's almost equal access. Everybody can put their stuff up on those different sites you just mentioned, and they could be seen. They just have to be great. If you want to really create a fan base now, your music can't just be good. It's got to be great. So you got to really put your best, just A-list stuff out there, and then you're going to see some real feedback.